Amosun, I represent Ogun Central. Mr. President, let me join my colleagues in supporting this amendment of this, what I call all-important bill. And in saying this, Mr. President, I think this is not the only bill. Bills like this, we should all come together and quickly do the necessary amendments that is required. Mr. President, just earlier today and even in several of our sittings, we all talked about the inadequacy of our revenue as a nation. We are talking about, probably today, we'll see the budget, which is about 10 point something trillion. Of course, the revenue that we envisioned is about maybe 8. Clearly, there's a gap. And that is why we have this deficit budget that we have to go and borrow. But in a scenario where we have funds that are just being used by others that ordinarily, they know that when they operate in other clients, they don't get to do what they are doing with us here. Clearly, they've taken us for granted because they realize that we are not. Because this bill should have been amended since. And when I listened to what Senator Oji said, he said sometime in the past, this same bill was brought for amendment and somehow the thing got killed at the committee level. But this one, I'm happy that all of us are determined that this must see the light of the day. In a scenario where we are complaining that our revenue is low or is inadequate to fund all our projects, all our desires as a nation, and we have about maybe 200 billion sitting somewhere. Indeed, when you look back, you will discover that this will have run into trillions of naira. So I think anything that we need to do to jack up our revenue without unnecessarily inconveniencing or maybe being seen that we are just bringing punitive measures because we want to just raise our revenue should be supported. Looking at this bill, and I'm waiting, I'm sure that when we come to clause by clause, there are certain things that I want to talk about, which some of my colleagues have actually spoken about. We are going to talk about the percentages. We are going to talk about penalty clause, which I think without it, of course, people will still continue to do what they are doing. So, Mr. President, I want to enjoin my colleagues that we should, particularly in the spirit of all that we are doing now. For me, I've said it severally that, yes, we have things like this that is still pending that we must address, but that the ultimate will be to diversify our economy and move away from this monolithic economy that we currently operate and we currently, all of us, rely on. This is now the time for us to be moving away from just maybe oil-related revenue. But having said that, Mr. President, if we know we have, these are low-hanging fruit. These are things that we should quickly just put in the basket, and we will all be the benefits. We will all reap the benefits of doing this. It is not just about the federal government. Just like what I've been said, this will go into federation account, and everybody will benefit. So, Mr. President, let me commend us for looking at this bill, for this amendment that we sought to do. We should quickly do it so that at least we will increase our revenue base. Thank you, Mr. President.